How many people have you both dated before you found each other? Why did you wait to have sex until marriage? I did have a lot of questions about our Judaism. Is Eran my employee? How do you think he'll feel that he's gonna be working for you? Somebody else actually asked if we have a prenup. I had like a $7,000 debt before we got married. I'm nervous.
Why nervous?
Because this is so different than what I'm used to. Hey babes, what's up? It's Haley and welcome back to my channel. Got a little bit of a different setup going on because after just so many complaints in the past about us always having audio issues.
That's why we took this route, that we have proper audio, we know it's good, nice and crisp.
So basically, today's video, we thought it would be really fun to kind of do like a little part 2 of a couples Q&A. So I basically asked you guys to send me some questions on Instagram. We have so many different things that we can talk about. Lots of marriage questions, kids questions, pregnancy related, finance stuff, and I guess just how we've navigated our relationship in general. If you guys are new to the channel, hi, my name is Haley. This is my husband, Eran.
Hello. Eran, E-R-A-N.
Not Evan, not Elon,
Not Eric.
not Aaron. It's Eran. You gotta roll the R's like, ugh.
Yeah.
But Eran and I have been married for a little over 5 years now.
I feel like we have learned a lot in the last 7 years of being together, so hopefully we can give you the do's and don'ts of marriage.
From our experience.
Yeah.
So I think to start off, how many people have you both dated before you found each other? Eran's answer is very short and quick.
I haven't dated. Haley was my first official girlfriend and my first official wife, and I'm hoping it'll be my only wife.
But I was also the kind of person that always dated for marriage. Like I always wanted to date in hopes that it would become serious enough that eventually that guy would be my husband. You know?
I agree. When we dated, we came in with the intention that it's going somewhere. We didn't
Exactly.
really date each other for fun.
You know what I think a big part of it is also is that me and you already kind of had some religion in our life.
Yeah.
So because of the fact we're both Jewish, as much as we are more observant now than we were back then when we were dating, I do feel like it was very important for me back then to like wait until marriage. So if I saw that I could be in a relationship with a guy and that was not his intention, then at that point I just figured that guy wasn't for me and I wouldn't pursue a relationship. And I think that's why both of us have such a short list of like people we dated, because we both had that same ideology. Yeah, I feel like that would be a good leeway into the next question, which is why did you wait to have sex until marriage? I'm choosing to do the same and I want to know your reason. So do you want to maybe take it away from here?
It was just kind of something that was like a given for us. I feel like for me, I always wanted my first time to be with somebody that I loved, and that would be only determined when I got married. Both of our families taught us like you wait till marriage, and being intimate and having sex till marriage is something that's so intimate and so close. When we were with each other for the first time after we got married, like I'm like, yo, this is so vulnerable. Like it's crazy.
I can't
how
imagine sharing it with
again, we're
somebody else.
not, God forbid, judging anybody.
Eran and I do want to preface that as much as like this is obviously us sharing our experience, we are in no way judging anybody's journey, anybody's
Everybody's in a
experience,
different
anybody's
stage.
decision. Exactly. Something I feel like most people can agree on is if you're somebody who's had a lot of partners in the past, I do feel at some point you become a little bit desensitized to the experience. I'm not necessarily saying the emotions, because you can have very strong emotions even if you were with multiple people, but I feel like the experience itself, it's just like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but knowing that I was the only person you've ever been with has kind of like eased a lot of
like, because we were each other's first, we have nothing really to compare it to. And then people might think like, okay, so then how are you gonna buy the car without test driving it? You know, like I remember I was asked a lot like, what if it's not good? Like, what if you guys are not good together?
What if you don't have chemistry?
For sure, we knew the chemistry was there, but we also knew that like we will get better at it together. Like you will both be very open about it, talking about what was good for each other. That led to having Aaliyah as well through the action.
And baby number 2.
And baby number 2.
And future babies.
Exactly.
So again, we do really want to preface that like there's no judgment. I am not somebody who goes and like preaches to people you got to wait until marriage. Again, this is like our experience, our decision, why we came to this decision. So I guess to brief, as much as like religion obviously was an aspect of it, it is like an ideology that my family kind of like raised us with. But on top of that, now that we've actually gone through it, I'm very happy with my decision. I don't feel like I needed to
like we don't feel like we missed we don't feel like we missed out. If anything, us being together in each other's first is like I said, like a beautiful thing for us and something that we literally waited for each other for. And God willing, we'll be able to instill that to our kids, and in a way just show that it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to wait your whole life until you meet that special someone that you fully trust
and share that with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, good.
Well said, babe. Damn, getting the hang of this.
A little bit. So we've actually also gotten a lot of questions in regards to our employment, our finances as a couple, because I guess a lot of people are a little bit confused. I've been doing YouTube and social media full time since I graduated university.
So I started doing personal training before we got married. It became more of work than passion.
Once I had Aaliyah, I feel like social media, YouTube, all of it just became so much.
So when we made the decision to move to Florida, we came to the realization, like, you know what? How about I just stop doing training and I work with you full time?
And honestly, as much as people think that I told Eran to do this was very hard for me because so many people came up to me and were like, listen, he's the man of the house. I obviously like don't agree with those ideologies, but they were like, how do you think he'll feel that he's going to be working for you? But I think once we actually kind of got into the groove of things and started taking on working together full time, that's what it is. It's working together. He's not working for me. He's working with me. The business, as much as it's called Haley's Corner and our corporation is Haley Inc., Eran is a co-owner of it. We're 50-50. We do everything together. And I feel like as much as you guys see my face most of the time, he is a lot of the back end stuff. So like there's so much that goes into content creation. And I feel like ever since we've started doing it together, the flow has been so much better. So that's answering the question. Is Eran my employee? Technically, yes. Like you are an employee of the company.
On paper, yes. I'm an employee, but within our marriage, like my success is her success and her success is my success. Like we learned that in Judaism, like when you get married, it's two souls connect and create one. So we're one soul. We're one neshama. You say in Hebrew means soul. And so financially, responsibility, all that stuff is to both of us. It's not like, okay, you are doing this. This is my money, your money. No, this is our money.
We have access to each other's accounts. We transfer like money and finances within both accounts all the time. He can be like, babe, I got to pay my credit card bill. Can you transfer this from the company? Like that's kind of how it works. Somebody else actually asked if we have a prenup. And I think that would be really interesting to ask because maybe I'm wrong because everybody could have a different kind of situation, but hear me out, okay? I just personally feel like if you're already entering a marriage and you want to have something like a prenup drawn up, meaning like, oh, in the case that you were to divorce, this person would have this person would have this, you're not going to necessarily share each other's finances. I just think like that's not the right mindset to be going into a marriage already.
Yeah, you're already kind of going in there with like a backup plan.
Like when me and you were engaged, I had no part of me that thought it wasn't going to work out. Obviously, like things change in a marriage, but I was just so confident that you were my person forever that never did I actually think, oh, we're going to end up divorcing and then what are we going to do with our finances?
I mean, to be fair, we didn't have anything.
That's another good point. We had nothing. Even if Eran came up to me and said I wanted a prenup, I would be like, okay, do you want to share my bed? Because like that's all I have.
Like when we got engaged, I was working at a shawarma kosher restaurant.
He was like a takeout boy making sandwiches, salads.
Bus boy, less than $1,000 in my bank account, pretty much.
And with me, I was still a full-time student. I was waitressing at the same restaurant once in a while, but we had no savings whatsoever. So let's just say that once we made the decision to get married, we were definitely not in a place where it's like one of us is financially stable, can take care of the other. We were very much equal in the sense that we both had nothing. I had like a $7,000 debt before we got married, like to pay off for school. And Eran actually came in and like using his savings helped me pay it off. Because again, we had the mindset entering our marriage that we're starting everything together. We're going to be building.
Like if she's in debt, we're in debt.
Yes.
Like
it's not like
okay, that's you deal with that. And
because for me to pay that off by myself would have taken so much longer. And we just had a mindset of like all the money that we saved up together, let's take care of this debt so we can get into this marriage, in a very, very like neutral zone. So we kind of knew that we had to take a little bit of a sacrifice when we got married of like independence. We did have enough money that we could rent a place, but I feel like it would have definitely been a financial burden on us and it would have been very hard for us to save. Luckily, my parents were like so amazing and incredible that they offered us to live with them for almost 2 years, like a year and a half.
Yeah.
And I think doing that definitely helped us get on the right foot.
Definitely took that like financial stress off of us.
We just think that it's so beautiful. I mean, now looking back at our 5 years of marriage, I think it's so amazing that everything that we have accomplished together, with God's help, obviously, we built it together, Like buying a house in Toronto is like a huge accomplishment for somebody our age. Like we feel amazing about that. And trust me, when we just got married, I remember sitting in my parents' house and just being like, when are we going to move out? How are we even going to be able to afford to like rent? Do you remember?
We're like, how are we going to even afford to rent like $2,000 a month? It just goes to show that like when you guys have each other, like you can take on the world. And I feel like that's the mindset that we've had. As long as we have the mentality, we're both on the same page. We're both communicating properly, we can do anything. Yeah.
This is really fun.
You like him?
I like it. Yeah. Okay. Should we start a podcast? Please say yes. Let's bring Aaliyah into this a little bit. Aaliyah's our daughter.
Our favorite person.
Our favorite person.
Other than each other. Depends on the day.
But basically, Aaliyah is our 18-month-old daughter, and I'm currently pregnant with baby number 2, if you guys don't know. So we have a question over here saying, did y'all always agree on what you wanted as far as kids, when to have them, and how many? So I think I kind of wanted to start off answering this question by saying straight up yes. Yeah. I feel like we were always kind of in agreement. When we were dating, we both always knew that we wanted a big family because I'm one of 3 sisters, Eran is one of 4 siblings. But I think a deeper conversation that I want to take with this is that I feel like so many people these days, when they're dating, they're not actually really having any of those important conversations at all.
Or they kind of think that like we'll live in the now and then we'll discuss these type of things later on.
Sometimes you see the girl or the guy be like, I don't want kids right now, but like, let's just talk about it later. They end up getting married and then they're surprised when like one person doesn't end up changing their mind or doesn't end up wanting kids in the future.
Right off the bat, when we started dating, that was like one of the first things we talked about. We talked about our future together. We talked about what kind of house we would like, and we talked about like how many kids we would want. We talked about all this stuff in the beginning because again, when we got married, like there was a game to play like every other dating thing. You flirt and you do all that stuff, but in the end of the day, we were together to get married.
But I do have to agree with you that I feel like so many people are in relationships. I guess it kind of goes back to how serious do you want your relationship to be. A lot of people are in relationships being like, listen, I'm having fun, I'm having a good time right now, it's a nice way to pass the time. But like,
again, like if that's your life, right? Like, you know, you do you, that's your life, we don't judge.
But then understand if you end up in heartbreak, like that's why it kind of happened. Like you do have to go into relationships not just acting on emotion. So when we were dating, like the mindset that we always had is we always wanted to talk about things that we wanted. And I think that's something that more people need to do of before you even get to a stage where you get engaged, before you even get to a stage where you move in together. Some things that we talked about is how many kids we wanted. At what point in the marriage do we want to start trying to have kids? Because that's a different conversation for a lot of people too. A lot of people want to have kids right away. Some people want to have kids like 5 years down the line.
Even in our Judaism, we were both also on the same level, and we both agreed to what level we wanted to get at.
Yeah, that's true. Religiously also, I mean, obviously not everybody has this as a topic of conversation because some people like don't have a religious presence in their own life. Eran and I were both like somewhat observant a few key things. Yeah,
but we wanted to grow. Like we both agreed that we both wanted to grow. We wanted to grow spiritually every year and work on ourselves in that sense.
Like I even remember that there were some guys in high school that were interested in dating me. I can be attracted to them and like every aspect of their personality, but at that point I was already keeping kosher and I was already keeping Shabbat. So because I was like someone who knew that I wanted to keep kosher, it was very hard for me to think about dating someone who ate pork or mixed meat and dairy, because like think about how your life would be at that point.
I just didn't have the same values.
Not even values wise, but like imagine how many arguments can come up just based on like how you view your life, whether you see God in your life or whether you don't. All in all, talk to your partner about how you see your life, what you want from your future. Yeah, communication obviously is very important, but obviously as you get more serious into the relationship, you're already talking about future plans. Like you got to think about this stuff. I feel like these conversations for these questions kind of go long, but it's because we have so much to say, and this is only really like scratching the surface on some of our thoughts. I'm really curious on how you guys are liking it so far. Please let me know down below.
This is pretty fun. I really like this setup. It's actually just very organic.
It's like we're having a conversation with each other,
and like we also like look at each other.
So if you guys are watching up to this point, before we get to our last question, I would really love it if you comment down below, hey babes, or even hey babes podcast, if you like that name for a podcast. If you have another name, maybe let us know.
That'd be pretty cool. That's if we do start one, but I feel like
I already have the sign. It would make my life a lot easier.
We already have the setup at this point. Like, why not?
So I think the last thing I want to talk about in this Q&A is kind of talking a little bit about religion. We kind of scratched the surface on it before. I did have a lot of questions about our Judaism, and one that I really liked was, how do you balance religion and social media? I've always had a little bit of a struggle actually balancing social media and religion, because I do want to say that I feel like everybody's relationship with religion is a personal one. Everyone's experience and journey with their religion is a personal one. So I guess to brief on a couple of different things, there's some things that I observe that have definitely made having a career in social media a little bit more challenging, but it's still something that I do. So for example, we keep Shabbat. What does that mean? A lot of people always ask us, what is keeping Shabbat? Keeping Shabbat is basically just following the ideology that God created the world within 6 days, and then on the 7th day he rested. So the way that observant Jews keep that now is that on Friday night until Saturday night for 25 hours, we actually disconnect. In what sense? We don't use our phones. We don't use any technology, even going as far as like not turning the lights on and off. There's obviously like loopholes for stuff. You can leave
the lights on or have like automatic ones like on a timer that turns on and off.
But you can't physically turn the lights on and off.
But the whole point of it is to have a day of rest and just a day to connect connect spiritually. Because when you don't have your phone, you don't have it, you don't have any distractions, it allows you to feel more at one with your spirituality and more connected to Hashem, which Hashem in Hebrew is God. It allows us the opportunity to connect with our families, to pray, and just feel that like spiritual connection.
Let me just take you through like what it kind of looks like. So Friday night, we usually get together with the family. At that point, the phones are all away. We're all sitting, we're all having dinner. It's a really good time.
I'll go to synagogue to pray.
The men go to shul to pray. The women can also, but they don't have to.
They're not obligated to. So we come, we, say our prayer for the food that we eat, and we enjoy, we talk about Torah, we talk about our week, we talk about personal things. We just connect because on Shabbat, you literally have no excuse. Like, it is like Thanksgiving every week, pretty much.
It's beautiful. I love it.
It's beautiful. And it's probably the only time where Haley and I actually feel like we disconnect from work.
Yes.
Because in this field, we feel like our brain is always thinking about work.
You always got to think about the next piece of content, the next video, the next work you got to do. So I guess my balance in doing this is that because I observe Shabbat, which means from Friday night till Saturday night, I'm disconnected. I'm forced to not think about work, which I feel like is a perfect balance for somebody who does social media, because I don't have to think about what's next, and I really have that time to connect with my family and connect with God.
I don't know, just a beautiful thing. It's also a good thing to do to connect with new people, because you invite them over for Shabbat.
Yeah, we love hosting people, so we try to invite new couples to our house on Shabbat and just have like a good experience overall. And I guess what I can say to you guys, as much as like most of you watching probably aren't Jewish, because we don't have like a huge Jewish following, but I do know that even a lot of people who are Christians, they observe like having a day of rest. And I think that a really great thing to implement, or at least try implementing, is to have like a no technology kind of day.
But even just for a few hours.
For dinner time on Friday.
For dinner time. Like you're going out with your friends, or you're going out with your family, and like have that thing. I've seen multiple people do it, that they have like that like basket, and they're like, all right guys, all phones in the basket, put it in here.
Or even a full 24-hour social media disconnect. I feel like that would be very good for people to start off with, or even build up to that, because I feel like sometimes your mind is constantly cluttered with all the noise.
You're just so stimulated. You're always looking for that dopamine, you call it, like from like
stimulation.
Do it, like you don't give your brain a rest.
So that would be a nice thing, I think, to try out, because we love it. I look forward to Shabbat every day. But that was actually pretty fun. I hope that we answered some of your questions.
Yeah, and we're definitely going to do more of this for sure, especially if you guys enjoy them.
Not necessarily posting like videos like this unless they're Q&As, but I do like the setup. But with that being said, I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. Please give this video a thumbs up if you did. Comment down below if you guys have any comments about anything we spoke about today. I would really love to know. If you have any future questions that you want us to answer, whether in a different video or maybe in a future podcast, let me know. Also, did want to say one more thing. We also know that Eran has a little bit of a problem with enunciation. So hopefully with the more practice that we get on these podcasts, I know, but it's honestly like a running joke at this point.
Yeah.
Like in the vlogs, whenever Eran is talking, I gotta put captions because it's really hard to understand him sometimes.
Yeah, but I add the caption, so I know what I'm saying.
Exactly. So comment down below your thoughts, you guys. Did you enjoy like this conversation? Do you guys want to see more of this?
Was the audio better this time?
Yes, I hope so. We love you guys so much. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe down below. Join the amazing Hey family. And follow me on Instagram if you do want to see us more on our day-to-day. And otherwise, like I said, comment down below Hey Babes or Hey Babes Podcast if you're into that name. Or if you have any other names for a possible podcast that may come, I was going to say to a theater near you, but nobody goes to theaters anymore. But we love you guys. Thank you so much for watching and can't wait to see you in our next one.
Bye-bye.